Tri-City Radio, 98.7 CKPM FM. Hootie and the Blowfish, hold my hand. It's 8:14. Good morning, Rod Macbeth, the Tri-City Morning Show. It is an honor to have this next gentleman sitting across from me, Lui Passaglia, one of the all-time greats for the BC Lions. How are you?
I'm doing good these days.
Yeah, well, that's good. And can we talk about the scare you had a couple of years ago?
Yeah, two and a half years ago, I was diagnosed with colorectal cancer and had a tumor that had to be removed, and it was, and went through treatment. And 2.5 years later, at the moment, I'm cancer-free, and you live a day at a time, and at the moment, life is great.
But you've always had that outlook on life.
Well, you know what? Being an athlete and being specifically a kicker and a punter, you got to have short-term memory, and you got to be positive. And if you worry about what happened on the kick before and it didn't go well, your career would be short-lived.
Yeah, but I think maybe your fans felt the scare more, because I know when I read that, my heart just sunk. But everybody's got to go sometime. But you're only 50.
Are we going to bring up my age?
Yeah,
actually, I'm 61 and a half. 61, actually almost 62 in June.
Now, okay, this radio is a great forum for seeing people. Louis has still got the best hair, and he looks like he's, about 40 years old here, so life's been treating you good, I guess.
You know what, hard work and positive thinking, and everything is good.
That's good. And you work with your family nowadays?
Yeah, I work up in Burke Mountain. My brother and I are building houses up in Burke Mountain, and under Passaglia Development, number 5 enterprises. And my brother's been doing it for over 30 years, and this area has been growing like crazy recently, and a great spot to live. And I've been here since 1981 myself, and when there was very few houses in the neighborhood, and now it's a totally different landscape up there.
Yeah, geez. So you are a BC boy. You
grew up in Vancouver, East Vancouver.
What was it, Notre Dame?
I went to high school in Notre Dame, just by the P&E.
And then you moved up the mountain for your university career?
Moved next door to Burnaby, and then up to Simon Fraser, and then from there out to Coquitlam. And actually, every spot I've been in is a great part of Vancouver, and but Coquitlam's my home.
When did you decide you wanted to be an athlete, or when did you discover you had a talent?
I didn't know I had a talent, but I knew as a kid that you couldn't stop me from playing sports out in the yard or in the local elementary school. That was my mom and dad always had to whistle me in for dinner at night, or else I'd be out there playing 12 hours a day. But I enjoyed sports all the time, and if I wasn't doing it with friends, I was playing by myself and pretending I was one of those athletes, pro athletes that I admired, whether it was from the BC Lions, the Canucks, basketball players, etc. Right? So I think that kind of helped my career, because in the back of my mind, I wanted to be like some of the athletes I'd watched and pretended to be, and it came to fruition. I was lucky.
You are. Besides your family being a big influence on your choice of careers, is there anybody that pops to mind that was there that was like a mentor of sorts?
For me, we had a neighborhood of, we were multicultural in the East End, and we had a lot of soccer players that played. There was a Lenarduzzi family just down the street with Bobby, almost my age, and knowing that he went to England to play soccer. And we had Callister Park and Pacific Coast League, so I played soccer and followed a lot of the soccer greats that played here locally. Football-wise, it was basically in those days the BC Lions, and like the story I've told many times. It wasn't too. I lived not too far away when whenever the Lions did well, I could hear the roar from Empire Stadium at my house, so I knew they had scored a touchdown. And the Canucks in those days obviously were playing out of the Forum, and I was watching them with Phil Maloney and McCuskers and so forth. So it was. Sports was in the blood.
Yeah, it's just funny because we were down at the old Empire Stadium field, and you probably remember how hard that turf was if you ever got tackled.
Well, I got lucky. I played there in high school, and it was a treat to play there because we didn't have a field in Notre Dame, so that artificial turf was like heaven to us. It's pretty neat. But as you got older and played it in college, and when I got to the pros, I'm thinking, there's got to be better stuff than this and better insulation to the turf, because it was almost like playing on cement on some occasions. And then the stadium itself wasn't exactly conducive to rain because it kind of had a little bit of a crown at the middle, so all the rain would go down to the benches. So sometimes when it rained in Vancouver, which it rarely does, you'd have 2 inches of rain at your feet throughout the ball game. So sometimes I like playing in the cold in the prairies rather than playing at Empire Stadium when it was cool and raining.
Yeah, because I played Surrey Rams football, so I know the feeling at Empire Stadium. Then I also played high school football in Calgary, McMahon Stadium, and I preferred McMahon because the field was much nicer.
Well, yeah, McMahon Stadium has been one of my favorites, but
Yeah.
you know what? The Empire Stadium was there for a reason. It was there for the Commonwealth Games back in 1954, I think it was, and it was a home for us for a long, long time. And now with the beautiful BC Place, I think you've got a 5-star facility that the players are playing out of these days.
Yeah, exactly. Biggest memory? I mean, you probably got 1,000 of them, but is there any one that pops into your head on a regular occasion?
Well, you're talking about Empire Stadium. My first pro game coming out of the tunnel at Empire Stadium in 1976 and playing against Saskatchewan and Ron Lancaster. I think we got beat, though, pretty badly that day, but I got a chance to play wide receiver that day and score a touchdown. So my first game. So that's one of my first memories, and obviously winning the Grey Cups with BC over the years is the other fond memories I have.
Yeah, and at one point you were the point leader of all professional sports in the world or in North America.
I'm still hanging on to that. So, but one day that'll be broken too, right? So it's like anything.
Yeah, it's hard to say because you talk about Ironman, but you. What is it that kept you going? Was it just heart? Was it the passion? Why?
You know what? I was at a position that I loved doing, and I was lucky I didn't get beat up as much as those, the fullbacks, the offensive linemen, the defensive guys, and so forth, and the quarterbacks. So physically I kept myself in pretty good shape, and I kept my skill level to a point where I could still produce, and I was lucky enough to be in the right place at the right time with coaches that allowed me to play those 25 years.
That's great. 25 years, that's a heck of a career. Now, tonight you're up at the Pond on Poirier. BC Lions alumni and maybe some of the current players going to be up there.
Yeah, going to watch the Coquitlam Express play Chilliwack tonight. I know both teams are in the playoffs, but I know Coquitlam hasn't beaten Chilliwack yet, so that should be an interesting battle on the ice. But I always found that come playoff time, anything can happen. So this is a build-up to the playoffs, and looking forward to watching them play tonight. Yeah,
Lui Passaglia, BC Lion great, is here. I do hope Jimmy Young shows up because it'd be great to see both you guys in the same building
again. I hope he shows up. He's in the neighborhood, so I know if he's free, and he'll probably be there, and looking forward to the game.
Yeah, there's a bunch of guys that pop to mind. So BC Lion alumni Lui Passaglia up at the Pond on Poirier, Coquitlam Express tonight. Thank you for being here, sir.
Great to be here. Thank you. Have a great morning.